Okay, it's 2:30. We definitely have a quorum. Is there any commissioner that we're expecting that is not here?
I don't see Commissioner Garbarino.
Did
I
he-
kind of doubt he'd be coming.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna call to order our November 18th, 2020 Local Agency Formation Commission meeting. It's 2:30 p.m. We are meeting via teleconference pursuant to the various orders issued by the San Mateo County Health Officer and the Governor's Office, which discourage large public gatherings. The board chambers LAFCo uses for meetings is currently not open to the public for meetings. We are meeting via Zoom. At this point, the clerk will explain how both written comments and spoken public comments can be made by attendees of the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Cosgrove. For those attending the meeting on Zoom video conference, we will use the raise hand feature in order to organize any public comments. During the general public comment period, and for each item on the regular agenda, I will ask those members of the public who wish to comment to click the raise hand feature to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, you may press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. When you hear your name called, I will prompt you to unmute your microphone and inform you that you may begin speaking. You will have 2 minutes. Please note that members of the public must wait for the prompt in connection with each agenda item before using the raise hand function. For example, you cannot raise your hand for item number 3 if you wish to speak for item number 5. Written comments that were submitted in advance will be read by me during a discussion of the appropriate agenda item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now move on to item number 1, which is the roll call.
Thank you. 1 second. And I actually see Commissioner Harvey Warback here, so I'm trying to transfer him over. 1 second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Commissioner Draper,
Here.
Commissioner Garbarino, Commissioner Horsley,
Here.
Commissioner Lohman,
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Here.
Vice Chair Slocum,
Here.
Chair Cosgrove,
Here.
and we do have alternate members present. We have Katie Martin, Jim O'Neill, and Harvey Warback. Along with staff, we have Martha Poyatos, Rob Bartoli, and legal counsel Timothy Fox.
And through the chair, with the absence of Commissioner Garbarino, it would be appropriate for Commissioner Warback to sit as a member today.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to item number 2, which is the consent agenda. Please, clerk, read the items on the consent agenda.
Approval of action minutes for October 21, 2020. LAFCo file number 2008, proposed annexation of 25 Arapahoe Court, Portola Valley, APN 077-300-080 to West Bay Sanitary District. Time extension for LAFCO file 1903, proposed annexation of 252 Club Drive, unincorporated San Mateo County, APN 049-050-050 to the city of San Carlos.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I believe that was Commissioner O'Neill with the motion And Commissioner Lohman, I believe I saw your hand and heard you first for the second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Horsley,
Yes.
Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Rohrbeck,
Yes.
Vice Chair Slocum,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes. Thank you very much. So that item passes unanimous, and we'll move on to item number 3, which is public comments for items not on the agenda. Ms. Montez, did we receive any written comments or do we have any hands raised?
Thank you, Chairman. And we did not receive any written comments for item number 3. And as a reminder, if you wish to speak, you may use the raise hand feature or press *9 to indicate your desire to speak if you're calling by phone. But Mr. Chair, we do not have any hands raised.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we will close the public comment for items not on the agenda and move on to item 4, which is adoption of sphere of influence for the San Mateo Resource Conservation District. Staff report, please.
Yes, and Rob Bartoli will be presenting. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. You've received a copy of a staff report dated November 12th regarding the adoption of a sphere of influence for the San Mateo Resource Conservation District. At the last commission meeting, the commission adopted the municipal service review for the district and set the November 18th meeting for adoption of the sphere of influence, or the SOI, for the district. Staff subsequently met with RCD staff and a board member regarding district boundaries and areas that could be included in the district sphere of influence and preliminary mapping analysis supporting inclusion of several of these areas. The commission approved the MSR for RCD, and in that document, it was noted that the current SOI is coterminous with the boundaries of the district, and that the boundaries currently include the majority of the western portion of San Mateo County from the San Francisco down to the Santa Cruz County lines, but there are several excluded pockets, which we'll talk about here in a moment. And the map shown on this slide is showing the existing boundaries of the district. Again, the sphere of influence is coterminous with those boundaries. The MSR had identified several of those pockets that are in the western portion of the county that are excluded from the district boundaries currently. Many of those pockets currently take benefits from district activities, such as activities to address soil erosion and control runoff and other watershed enhancements. The expanded SOI, the future annexation of these pockets where projects and services are already occurring, and it will allow the district to incur more property tax to support these services and for district administration. So we'll briefly touch on some of these pockets. Starting from the north and going south, there are several pockets in the city limits of the city of Pacifica. There's also which is shown on the map on the left hand of the slide. And there are also portions that are excluded from the mid-coast area, which includes unincorporated El Granada, Miramar, Montera, Moss Beach, and Princeton, along with portions that have been excluded from the city of Half Moon Bay. And then moving to the southern part of San Mateo County, there are also portions that are excluded from the district's boundaries that include Dearborn Park, the community of La Honda, Lomar, Pescadero, Pescadero Creek County Park, Portola Redwood State Park, and the southern portions of South Skyline. In addition to amending the boundaries of the sphere of influence for the district, LAFCo is also required to make written determinations when amending or updating a sphere of influence. And some of these categories include proposed land uses within the area, the capacity of the district to provide service, and any social economic interests within the district boundaries. The majority of the unincorporated areas which encompass the district boundaries are designated as agricultural, open space, or timberland production. These three general plan designations really have a low amount of growth that is proposed by the county within in those areas. And also the majority of the territory for RCD is within the coastal zone, which further restricts potential development. Staff has no concerns regarding the district's capacity to provide service or the adequacy of the district services. As mentioned in the MSR last month, several letters were received by LAFCo from agencies that have cooperated with the district that really praised and highlighted those partnerships and the effort of the district on those projects. There still will be ongoing demand for the district services to address these watershed and soil conservation needs, even with this low growth in this territory. And while there's no disadvantaged unincorporated communities within the district boundaries, either existing or proposed if the SOI was adopted, several activities that RCD undertakes do have direct impact on a number of communities in the county, many of which, especially in the southern portion of the county, may have lower socioeconomic status. And the district has specific projects and programs focused on underserved, low income, and non-English speakers. In addition to the areas that staff recommends for inclusion in the district sphere, we've been working with RCD staff on other areas that could be included in the sphere. And Kellex Nelson, the general manager for RCD, will provide some input here in a moment about these additional recommendations. So really what we're doing today, though, is we're asking for input from the commission and from RCD to look at these potential either the pockets or other areas to include in the sphere of influence. And then we're asking the commission then to set January 20th next year, 2021, for the public hearing to actually adopt the sphere of influence determinations and any updated sphere of influence mapping for the San Mateo Resource Conservation District. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I think after that, Kellex, if she is here, will be able to provide some more information and a map, I believe, as well.
Okay, so are you proposing that General Manager Nelson speak after we have questions or comments from the commission?
If you have questions specifically about my presentation, I'd be happy to take those now. And then if you don't have any questions for me, then Kellex can present at that time.
What about the public hearing, public comments? Should we have General Manager speak before that?
I would recommend, or Martha, if you would like to speak to that.
Yeah, I would recommend, yes, that we hear from Kellex on these areas that were not addressed by Rob.
Okay.
And then allow for public comment and commission discussion.
Okay, well, let me first then ask the commissioners alphabetically if they have any questions or comments of Rob and his presentation. So Commissioner Draper?
No questions or comments.
Commissioner Lohman?
Just one quick comment. We've been studying this for months and it seems like a pretty good program. Have you received any negative feedback from any of the groups, or has there been any input, negative for this whole project?
So through the chair, we've only received what I would say are positive comments, and those were comments that were from either members of the public or from other public agencies that have partnered with the district about the district services, and were included in the MSR packet at our last meeting. There was no public comments received on this item.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Neill.
Yeah, I have a couple questions about this. Okay, if these, all right, this is for sphere of influence, but at some point it might lead to annexation. And if it is annexed, then they would receive a portion of the property taxes. And my question would be, where does that property tax come out of? The city, the county's portion, or where?
If I could respond.
And is there an estimate as to how much that would be? This would definitely impact Half Moon Bay also.
Correct. So the proposal would be that it would be the county of San Mateo that would enter into the negotiation, and it would be a share of the county's share throughout, and cities would not be impacted.
Okay, so there'd be no fiscal impact to the city of Pacific.
Correct.
Okay. Another question I had would be, looking at the maps, I mean, of the areas that we're proposing sphere of influence, possible annexation, I can see where they're at, but they're not really detailed to know. Are these areas where there's already building? Because one of them looks like it's either Rockaway or Valamar. I can't quite make it out given the location. But it's probably Valamar because that has the creek there. But there's buildings there, houses, schools. And how does possible annexation to the resource district affect those existing residents?
Alex will be able to speak to that a little bit more, but the effect on the residents is, number one, they would see no change in their property tax bill because we're still talking about the 1%. Many of these areas contribute to some of the problems that the district was created to solve. So it's really getting not just areas that benefit from, but also areas that contribute to some of the runoff problems that exist on the coast side.
No, I have no problem with what the goals are. And I think, it's a good district and they do a lot of good work and everything. I'm just concerned because does that mean basically if there's an existing structure there or house, how would that affect the residents? Like if they want to add a room to their house or even tear down that house, build a brand new one, is the resource district then another entity they have to go to for approval? Is it all done through the planning department of Pacifica? Because I called the planning department of Pacifica and they didn't know how it would affect them at all.
The Resource Conservation District has no regulatory power over development. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't be affected.
If there was any kind of development that would still continue with the regular functions of the city of Pacifica, and Kellex in their presentation probably can speak to more about their role in lots of those ones where they get called in by the property owner, have advice on something, but they're not a regulatory.
Okay. So then that kind of answers my next question is, at the southern end of town, there's a couple developments I know that people are talking about or brewing about. So those people, it would just go regular planning department through the city of Pacifica. And in this case, they would have to be annexed because they're on county land now. But so the RSD would not have any input in them at all. Okay.
That's correct. And I've worked when I've done projects in county planning, if there's territory and development occurring within RCD, while the property owner might talk to RCD, they're not typically part of that planning process or the district.
Okay. Those were just like my concerns. And so thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Rarbach, comments or questions?
Just a brief comment that Half Moon Bay is going to welcome having RCD now have its sphere of influence include portions of Half Moon Bay. So I heartily support this SOI.
Thank you. Vice Chair Slocum?
No questions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you. I don't either. And so I heard that the general manager has a brief presentation.
Really quickly, I see Commissioner Horsley's hand. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, you kind of, for some reason, I cannot use the video portion. I can only do the audio. In any case, the only question I have is how did those little parcels ended up being excluded from the district? Well, the district boundaries extend from Pacifica all the way to the Santa Cruz border. How did these little parcels end up being excluded from the district in the first place?
Back in the years when larger developments were taking place, the enabling legislation allowed for developed properties to be detached which is actually counterintuitive to the work that the district does. So we do have documentation of the actions that were taken for the detachments, but there's no prohibition to including these properties back in.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So do we have a brief presentation from the general manager?
Yes, thank you. I am not really like a PowerPoint presentation per se, but just a little bit more information and context. Some of it, maybe I can start by even answering some of the questions that came up a little bit. Resource conservation districts are established in Division 9 of the state's Public Resource Code. And there's about 100 of them in California, and we are established for the purpose of providing confidential, non-regulatory technical assistance to landowners, public and private landowners. It is precisely because we're not regulatory that we're often invited to provide assistance where other government agencies aren't that have regulatory functions. We do not make comments about development. We don't take positions on those kinds of things. We help people. That's what we do. So whether it's a jurisdiction, a municipality, a private landowner, a national park, if they ask for our technical assistance, we provide it. So, and then to Supervisor Horsley's question, I think that back in the 30s, when conservation districts were formed as a response to the Dust Bowl crisis, and we were the first in California, we were largely seen as almost like a farm services agency. And so I think it wasn't envisioned the kind of development that exists today on the coast, the urbanization, the wildland urban interfaces, the idea of working in watersheds across the developed and undeveloped lands, working at landscape scale, that wasn't really envisioned. So the kinds of threats that we face today with climate change and drought and invasive species and habitat degradation and endangered species simply wasn't imagined when our boundaries were created. And so the kind of work that we do now is done at a scale to address those threats and at a scale to have meaningful impact and benefits to very diverse constituents in a way that just simply wasn't imagined when our boundaries were created, and it didn't have the population that we have now. So that's a little bit of contextualizing this sphere of influence also through some of the questions that you all asked. So we, as I mentioned when I spoke with you all recently, we work in 5 program areas. That's water, fire and forest health, wildlife, climate, and agriculture. And the kind of work that is being done is top to bottom of these watersheds. It's in the forested uplands, it's in the flats that have agricultural production, it's in the residential subdivisions. It really takes a watershed, it takes a village, it takes a community to be able to protect these resources. And we get very diverse, very, very wide-ranging requests for assistance. We've done things in the subdivided, developed areas that are helping people with low impact development in their landscaping, and things that have to do with managing stormwater before it hits local creeks and the beaches, to address water quality issues at the beaches that start in people's backyards. And we're also working with large tracts of forested areas up along Skyline. And we're also working with farms and greenhouses. And you'd be amazed all the places that agricultural production is tucked away in this county, in areas that are really urban, in areas that are wooded, in areas that you drive by and see on Highway 1. So I will share with you this one map that I think, do I have permission to share the screen? I do. Okay, so let me share this one map with you. Sorry, one second. So because the need is great, and because we work where we're invited and we've been responding to these needs and these requests for assistance, this map shows some places where we've done projects in recent years that are outside our boundaries, just to give you a sense of some of that. So you'll see that, is that map showing? Should I make it larger?
Yes, please.
Let me, there we go. This is not a complete map by any stretch. This is just something we started to pull together. And you'll see that a lot of the work that we've been doing, these discrete projects, are in areas that are already excluded from our boundaries. And then what this, including some that are actually further away from our boundaries, for you know, down in the cities on the Bay side. And then what this doesn't really show you is magnitude. So some of these are just a particular point on a map, but it's representing a program that's county-wide or region-wide. So let me stop this share for a second and give you just maybe, let me read a list of some of the kinds of things that maybe are in some of those areas. So there are many of the things that are needed on the bay and also at the ocean that address near shore marine resources and coastal resources that need treatments in the headwaters of watersheds. So those headwaters are up along Skyline. There are a number of efforts we've been involved with that involve stream flow and stream gauging, particularly on the west side of Skyline. Just to remind you all that south of Half Moon Bay and also just east of Half Moon Bay, there are people who do not have a water utility. There's no water district. There's no state water project. It's all local water resources that are being shared by fish farms and people. That starts, those waters start at the headwaters and go to the sea. A great deal of weed eradication and habitat enhancement that is along Skyline all the way down to the sea. Wildlife migration corridors require a lot of continuity. Erosion and sedimentation issues, rural roads, technical assistance. Again, a lot of those are up near headwaters, up along Skyline and down in the southern part of the district, particularly in some of the excluded areas that are state parks currently or county parks, where we've provided extensive assistance. There's a fair amount of agriculture, again, from Skyline down, viticulture more up on Skyline, and some small row crop operations, and more greenhouses once you get to the bottom of these hills. Fuel load reduction, wildfire preparedness, the community wildfire prevention plan that the County Board of Supervisors adopted that we helped develop with CAL FIRE that goes across this whole region. The agricultural ombudsman, the county contracts with the RCD to provide services countywide regarding urban and rural agriculture. A great deal of our water quality program is assistance to equestrian operations. Those equestrian operations, there's a cluster of them also that are along Skyline, and then in the residential areas of Moss Beach and further south. A large number of responses for assistance from residents, and residents call us from everywhere around the county, no matter what it is, whether they are wanting to develop a still for brewing blackberries that they're growing on their properties, or whether a neighbor has an erosion problem that's coming onto their property and what they should do about it. And then all of the climate resilience work, whether it's adapting to climate change or mitigating climate change, that needs to be taking place in very diverse areas, and it needs to be happening at scale. And frankly, it needs to be happening urgently because we're seeing the impacts of climate change now. Species recovery plans, there's a large number. San Mateo County is a biodiversity hotspot, and there are a large number of threatened and endangered species. The state and federal agencies responsible for bringing them back from the brink of extinction partner with us, and those species recovery plans are in many of the excluded areas. And 2 watershed plans, the Pilarcitos Integrated Watershed Management Plan that is from the headwaters to the sea through the city of Half Moon Bay, and the San Gregorio Watershed Plan, which covers a similar range but further south, call for actions to be taken in from top to bottom of the watershed, including areas that are currently excluded from our boundaries. In both cases, we're the key entity implementing many to most of these recommendations with public and private landowners. So that's just a little sort of a snapshot at a programmatic level. Without, if we were to put a dot on a map for every time we've provided assistance outside of our boundaries, you wouldn't see the map anymore. It's really that vast. So if there's a way that we can represent that that's helpful, or you have recommendations for how we can do that to communicate with the public as well, we're certainly interested in doing that. But for now, that's to give you a bit of a sense of where our work is currently and has been recently.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I open the public hearing, let's see if any commissioners have any questions for the general manager. Commissioner Draper?
Yes, I have 2. I'm interested in the community wildlife reduction plan, I think that you called it, and the climate resilience projects. Where would I get more information on that offline?
The Community Wildfire Prevention Plan is a document that was created by CAL FIRE in partnership with the RCDs of Santa Cruz and San Mateo counties, having the foresight that fire would not know boundary between our counties, and sure enough, it didn't. And it was also in partnership with and funded by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Then it was adopted by the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors in, I'm going to say, I think it was 2008. I'd have to double check. And then it was recently updated. So if you did a Google search, or perhaps we could follow up with sending you the link to it. It's the Community Wildfire Prevention Plan. And it is for San Mateo County. One of the key things that this plan did is, in order to be eligible for certain federal funds, you have to go through a process to designate your wildland urban interface. And this process in this document designated significant parts of San Mateo County as part of the wildland urban interface, and that makes them eligible for certain funding and other programs.
Okay, and if you could provide maybe a link to staff, and then they can send it on to me, that'd be great, because I just want to take a look at it.
Yeah, sure. And then the other thing you asked about was about climate.
Correct.
So climate is a very big umbrella, and frankly, most of our other programs could easily fit under that. Almost everything we do could fit under the umbrella of climate right now, because climate change is one of the most significant factors driving some of the threats that we're addressing, whether it's water supply reliability, water quality, species extinction and biodiversity, the threats of fire, drought, flooding, all of the extremes that we're dealing with. Our approach to our climate program basically involves 2 categories. One is adaptation to climate change, because it's here, and we need to be resilient in light of the fact that it's already here. So the project that we did in partnership with state parks and the county and private landowners to dredge through Pescadero Marsh and under the road to reduce the impacts from the flooding to the town of Pescadero is a climate adaptation project, in that it reduces the impacts of chronic flooding. It's also a wildlife recovery project, because it opened up an entire watershed to migration for endangered salmon. So that's an example of an adaptation kind of project. For mitigation, a lot of the focus, many people focus on reducing emissions. We do as well, but we're actually more aspirational than that. We believe that we should be drawing carbon down from the atmosphere and storing it in healthy soils in vegetation, basically putting carbon back where it came from. And to that end, we have been partnering with the county on including new considerations for that in the new climate action plan. And B, we've been working with large ranches on carbon farm plans that basically make recommendations for how they can change their operations to sequester carbon, to draw it down from the atmosphere and store it. And we model that, we quantify and model it. With the 9 plans that we've completed so far, it is the equivalent to taking to removing hundreds of homes from San Mateo County and their impact, and hundreds of cars for 20+ years. It's extraordinary how much greenhouse gases can be stored in healthy soils and vegetation.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Horsley?
Thanks, Kelly, for the explanation. I just you talk a little bit about the post-fire remediation work that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. And once again, this is also a partnership with the county. And when I talk about, as a global comment, I want to say that when I say what the RCD is doing, we do nothing alone. Literally everything that we do is in partnership. We don't own land. We work where we're invited, and we work on priorities that are given to us by our constituents and the communities that we serve, and all of you. So our post-fire recovery work, a lot of that has been supported by and in partnership with the county. So we, after the fires, we, I'm sorry, what, honey? Not now, okay, not now. It's her 10th birthday today, so, yeah. So, oh, post-fire recovery, sorry. So we have provided assistance. We've made initial site visits, about 52 site visits to properties affected by fire, and identified where some of their critical needs are. Right now we're working on removing hazard trees, so trees that have been harmed by fire that have high risk in the storms of dropping on homes, people, or infrastructure and causing harm. Also addressing and minimizing the potential for catastrophic erosion or mudslides. All sorts of debris flow that can not only harm people and property, but also watershed health and endangered species and farms and agricultural production. We've also been helping some of the places that burned. There are people who live back up in these forested areas, and the roads, culverts, melted out in these roads, and if you drive across them, it's like a minefield. It's really dangerous. So we've been working on trying to make sure that the roads are safe and that the roads are repaired in a way that helps the people, the property owners, also designed in a way that CAL FIRE can use them for future firefighting, and also in a way that minimizes sediment delivery into salmon spawning habitat, because sediment can really harm the habitat for endangered salmon. So those are some of the things that we're doing post-fire recovery.
Thank you.
And I should also mention that the county's funding for us to do that also leveraged investments from 2 different foundations as well, 3. So now we've got 3 private foundations contributing as well, and the Coastal Conservancy.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Lohman.
Yes, I just wanted to put in a personal plug for one of Kelix's programs. The RCD and the county together have been doing this chipping service, and it finally made its way up into Montera and us tree folks up here. So they came in, and I probably hauled like a ton of branches down to the road. They came in, chipped the whole thing up. I came back later and took a look at it. There was not a twig or a leaf on the ground where they had worked. It was just stunning. And I know all the neighbors had all this, and I don't know how many tons of fire fuel they removed up in our area, but it was a great service, and I'd like to see that continue in the future too.
Glad to hear that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioner O'Neill.
Nope, I had all my questions. I didn't want to sound hostile. I just was asking for information because, you know, in the very heart of the city type of thing. So yeah, no, I think you do good work and everybody sings hosannas and everything. So but I have no questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Rohrbach.
No further questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Vice Chair Slocum.
Nothing here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, I don't either. So with that, I will finally open the public hearing. And this is the public hearing for item 4, adoption of sphere of influence for the San Mateo Resource Conservation District. Ms. Montez, do we have any public comments?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Kellex, for your presentation. We did not receive any written comments for this item. And as a reminder, you may press *9 if you're calling by phone or the raise hand feature. But I do not see any hands raised.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I will close the public hearing and public comment time for item 4. And I think all the commissioners' questions have been, or comments have been asked and made. So I will move on to entertaining a motion. You have the staff recommendations on the screen in front of you. We have done number 1, and I would entertain a motion for item 4.
Chair, Cosgrove, I'll make the motion to let me see, what am I doing? I guess to set the January 2021 for a public hearing to adopt the sphere of influence determinations and update the sphere of influence for the San Mateo County Resource Conservation District.
Second?
I think that was Commissioner Draper with the second, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Thank you. So we have a motion by Commissioner Horsley, a second by Commissioner Draper. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Draper,
Yeah,
Commissioner Horsley,
Yes.
Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Warbeck,
Yes.
Vice Chair Slocum,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes. So that passes unanimous. And we will move on to item number 5. Thank you, staff. Thank you, General Manager Nelson and Commission. So item number 5 is the Legislative and Policy Committee. It's an information only item. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. You have a staff report dated November 11th. For the legislative report, it's very brief. No changes since the October legislative report update. And hopefully in 2021, there will be reports from the Senate and Assembly. Legislation that has been signed into law that we will be able to share with the Commission. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now open for public comment. Anything for item 6, or excuse me, item 5. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Do we have any public comments for item 5?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Rob. We do not have any hands raised, and we did not receive any written comments.
All right, thank you very much. So I will close public comment for item 5, and now I'll go alphabetically through the commissioners to see if we have comments or questions on this item. So Commissioner Draper.
no comments or questions.
Commissioner Horsley,
No comments.
Commissioner Lohman,
No comments.
Commissioner O'Neill,
No comment.
Commissioner Rohrbach,
No comments.
Vice Chair Slocum.
Nothing here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and I don't either. So with that, we'll move on to item number 6, appointment of chair and vice chair for 2021.
Yes, thank you. You have a staff report dated November 11th that summarizes that the staff is requesting the appointment of both the budget subcommittee and the legislative policy committees for 2021. And these committees are 3-member committees and consist of the combination of county, city, special district, or public, and they can include the alternate members. The budget committee provides direction for budget preparation, and this typically involves a meeting before the March meeting, and then the Did I miss a staff report?
Well, we have the
Can I
chair,
go back
vice
to
chair,
that?
chair,
Okay.
vice chair first.
Excuse me, yes. Yes, thank you. I didn't print that report for myself, sorry. So each year in November, at the last meeting of for the commission, the commission appoints the chair and vice chair, and this is on a rotation basis. And the current chair, vice chair is the county member, and the rotation would make that person, Supervisor Slocum, be the chair for 2021, for 2021, yes. And the vice chair would be a city member. And that would require a nomination for both and a roll call vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So first, let me seek any public comment for this item. Do we have any?
Thank you, Chairman. We do not have any public comments for item 6.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's move on to questions, comments, concerns, nominations, and we'll go alphabetically. Let's start with Chair. Commissioner Draper.
I have no questions or comments.
Okay, Commissioner Horsley.
Would you like the nomination for me to nominate? I would nominate Commissioner Warren Slocum as the chair.
Excellent. Thank you. Commissioner Lohman.
I just want to make one quick comment. I'd like to thank Chair Cosgrove for a year of very well-organized meetings. He's had to double up as the president of our special district chapter for 3 years. So he deserves a good rest for a while, I think.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I do. Thank you. Commissioner O'Neill.
I will second Commissioner Horsley's nomination for Slocum
Okay,
for chair.
thank you. Commissioner Rarbach.
Nothing further.
Okay, Vice Chair Slocum.
If asked, I will serve. Thank you, Mr. Horsley.
All right, so we have, we have a nomination by Commissioner Horsley to nominate Warren Slocum as the chair for 2021. We have a second by Commissioner O'Neill. May we please have a roll call vote on that?
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Horsley,
Aye.
Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes.
And then I'm sorry, I don't call Warren Slocum for his own item. Sorry.
Okay. Let's move on then to vice chair. And if I heard correctly, if we're following the regular rotation, it's a city member. Okay. So let's, well, I'll just continue alphabetically to maintain order. Commissioner Draper.
I have a question. If Commissioner Garbarino was not reelected, then he would not be on this commission. So does that mean that Commissioner O'Neill is the only city member at this time?
A regular member, correct.
All right, then I would nominate Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Horsley.
Well, I'll second the nomination for Commissioner O'Neill.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Lohman.
No further comments.
All right, Commissioner O'Neill.
I just kind of wanted to clarify for everybody that this is an elected thing from this committee is an elected commission from CCAG. And I don't know if Commissioner Rohrbach is planning on running for the seat or not, you know, because it actually has been contested in the past. So I am more than happy to yield to Commissioner Rohrbach, but if he's not going to run for this, you know, to be the personal commission, I'm more than happy to be chair.
Okay, Commissioner Rohrbach?
Just for clarification, I have put in my name for the selection for LAFCo, but that won't be decided until December 18th, from my understanding.
Yeah, correct. And I don't want to deprive Commissioner Rohrbach of, the opportunity to be chair. So if you want to appoint me as interim, I'm okay for that.
Okay, well, we got a nomination for you and a second, so right now you're the nominated for vice chair. Anything further, Commissioner Rohrbach?
No, thank you.
Okay, Vice Chair Slocum?
I'm just a little confused now about the situation that we're faced with. The original motion didn't contemplate the situation that was described, and I'm wondering if the maker of the motion might amend it, or is it okay? I'm not sure. Maybe legal counsel could guide us here.
Well, this is the maker of the motion, and I'm okay to keep it the way it is. I'm okay to amend it. And I'm also okay to replace it with a deferral of vice chair selection until our next meeting.
Chair Cosgrove,
Yes, sir.
isn't it don't we have 2 city representatives? Or isn't that to make up to, well, I guess I'd have to ask staff, don't we actually have 2 city representatives, not just one?
Yes, through the chair, with
So-
Commissioner Garbarino not getting reelected to the South San Francisco City Council, we only have 1 regular member now, and the code reads that the alternate shall serve until a regular member is appointed. I think for the purpose of selecting a vice chair, that would be one of the regular members. It would be limited to considering Commissioner O'Neill, and then if the commission wanted to revisit it in January, that would be something to do.
But my point is that Commissioner O'Neill and Commissioner Hardback might both be selected by CCAG.
My term runs beyond December 31st, so I don't need to run for reelection. So mine expires, I think, in 2022.
So for clarification, in December, the Council of Mayors is going to do appointments to the various boards and commissions that have city council members sitting on them, and LAFCo is one of those positions.
But I guess my point is that the commissioner from Pacifica is on, and there's a vacancy. So Commissioner Rohrbach could be appointed by the Council of Cities, or the Council of Mayors, and it doesn't necessarily negate Commissioner O'Neill's position.
Correct.
Right.
So
Which is why I made the motion to nominate Commissioner O'Neill, but I heard the byplay, and so there's the other alternative would be, other alternative would be just to wait until the appointments are made. And I'm up for either.
Okay, well, let's continue going through comments. Vice Chair Slocum, did this get clarified for you, or?
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. Yes, it did. And I totally followed Supervisor Horsley's questions and the answers. And I don't know, if I understand it right, Mr. O'Neill, we don't really need to vote on that because for vice chair we do, but I guess his term goes on till 2022. So I think the supervisor is right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I would support the nomination of Commissioner O'Neill. So that's our nomination that's out there. Let's go through a roll call, please.
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Horsley,
yes,
Commissioner Loman,
Yes.
Commissioner Rohrbach,
Yes,
Vice Chair Slocum,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes. Okay. With that, we'll move on to item number 7, which is the appointment of the Budget Committee and Legislative Policy Committee for 2021.
Yes,
Staff
thank
report.
you. Thank you. So the staff is requesting appointment of 2 3-member committees that can consist of any combination of public, city, special district, or county. And they can also consist of the alternate members if they would like to participate. The Budget Committee assists staff in budget preparation, and so that involves 2 meetings, one before March, one before May, and then typically a meeting after July to help with budget amendment recommendations. The Legislative Committee is a committee that meets more frequently and helps staff prepare positions and recommendations to the Commission on legislative on bills that come before the legislature that are LAFCo related. And so it's requested that the Commission appoint 3 members to each of these committees. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the current Budget Committee are Commissioners O'Neill, Horsley, and Draper, and the current Legislative Policy Committee members are currently Commissioners Lohman, Martin, and Jim O'Neill. So what staff is asking us to either continue these same commissioners or change them, correct?
Correct.
Yes, okay, so let's go through the commissioners alphabetically. Let's see how we get through this. Commissioner Draper.
I'm okay to continue serving on the Budget Committee.
Excellent. Commissioner Horsley.
I am willing to continue serving on the Budget Committee.
Excellent. Commissioner Lohman.
I got a quick question. I'm perfectly happy and I like working on the Legislative Committee. Are we absolutely limited to 1 person? Or I haven't talked to Katie in the other picture next door, who's very active in these things also. It would be possible to also include Katie if she wants.
Are you asking me at this moment? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking someone else. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe I understand.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yes.
Yes. Is that possible, Martha, or?
Yes, currently the members of the Legislative Committee are you, Commissioner Martin, and Commissioner Jim O'Neill.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible to add Katie, or are we only limited to 1 from special districts?
Well, actually, that is the composition this year. So it's 2 special district members and the alternate public member. So we've got you as a regular member, Katie as a special district alternate, and Jim as the public alternate.
Okay.
She's already on the committee and
Okay.
sounds like she's willing to continue.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else, Commissioner Lohman?
No, that's it. Thanks.
All right, Commissioner O'Neill.
I'm perfectly fine to leave things as is.
Excellent. Commissioner Rarbach. You're on mute.
Yeah, thanks. No, I'm fine with the existing composure of the committees.
Vice Chair Slocum.
Well, they've all done a stellar job, so I support the continuation.
Okay. Commissioner James O'Neill, just want to make sure you're still good with
I'm still good.
okay. Excellent. And I'm good. So does this need any kind of formal action?
I would ask that there be a vote, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion that the committees stand as they were last year.
Second.
Same members. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very
Slocum.
much. Yes, thank you. So we have a motion by Commissioner O'Neill and a second by Vice Chair Slocum to maintain our 2 committees. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Horsley,
Yes.
Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Rarbach,
Yes.
Vice Chair Slocum,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes. Thank you very much. So with that, we will move on to, let's see, item number, we're on 8, right? Item number 8, California Association of LAFCO. Staff report, please.
Yes, thank you. You have a November 11th staff report that is informational about the election results for the California Association of LAFCOs. San Mateo LAFCO is a member, and there was an election that called for voting for representatives for the 4 regions, and San Mateo LAFCO is in the coastal region. And the representatives that were elected were Chris Lopez from Monterey LAFCO, a county member, and Mike McGill, a special district member from Contra Costa LAFCO. And these are members that if there's any issues that are LAFCO related that the board is addressing, these would be the members that we would want to reach out to for the Cal LAFCO board. And I also wanted to remind you that the Cal LAFCO roundtables, which is a meeting that takes place for the various regions, typically at the annual conference, is going to be held virtually on Thursday, December 10th from 9 to 10:30 in the morning, and everyone's welcome to participate. And you did receive an email with the link to that meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from the commission on that item?
Yeah,
Yes,
I just
Commissioner
kind of
Beal.
had a quick question as to how does Contra Costa County count as coastal region? Just because they're on the bay?
There was quite a bit of discussion about how to establish the regions, and yes, they decided that the 9 Bay Area, well, not all 9 Bay Area LAFCOs, but the majority of them would be in the coastal region.
Okay. No, I was just curious about Contra Costa being coastal, that's all.
All right. So not seeing any hand raised for that item, we're going to move on to item number 9, which is commissioner and staff reports. So first, is there any reports from staff?
Yes, thank you. First, I would like to personally thank you for being chairperson this year. It was a year that was very challenging for everyone and lots of learning and adapting, and you helped us along with that, so I appreciate it. And then I wanted to provide an update for the activities related to the East Palo Alto Sanitary District. At the October meeting, the commission considered a request to prioritize the municipal service review for the East Palo Alto Sanitary District that was put forward by several developers and the city of East Palo Alto. And the request was based on the inability of development projects that are either approved or in the review stage to get will serve for sanitary sewer from the East Palo Alto Sanitary District. The commission considered the request, and the recommendation was that if the commission authorized a prioritized municipal service review, that it be done by a consultant and that it be funded by the developers and that there be no funds from the LAFCO budget. The commission approved that with the condition also that not only would the municipal service review study that's prepared by a consultant be funded by the developers, but also that they fund the preparation of the request for proposals for that study. And it was also conditioned that the prioritization would not be moved forward if there were in the next couple months an agreement between East Palo Alto Sanitary District, the city, and the developers on the how they could fairly and agree upon a funding mechanism for development related infrastructures for sewer. And since the October meeting, the city of East Palo Alto and East Palo Alto Sanitary District have an intergovernmental committee consisting of 2 council members and 2 East Palo Alto board members along with their city manager and the district manager. They did have one of those meetings. They did not come to agreement on any of the issues that they have been working on. And following that meeting, the city of East Palo Alto and the Sobrato organization submitted requests to East Palo Alto Sanitary District to commence mediation, which is something that was suggested by the commission in October. The district hasn't responded to that request. In terms of the actual work to be done of the request for proposals and the MSR, I was contacted by a representative from the Sobrato organization, which is one of the main developers. And he indicated that there is a willingness amongst the developers to put the money forward to on deposit to start that request for proposal process. And so Rob and I are working on what that cost would be and what they should be submitting as a deposit. And we'll just continue to keep you updated on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I will go through alphabetically through the commissioners to see if they have any reports. Commissioner Draper?
No, I just want to thank staff for the update about East Palo Alto. I do think it's important that these conversations occur, and I'm glad that staff is monitoring those conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Horsley?
I don't have any comments other than to thank you for leading us through this last year. You've done a great job. Thanks. And
Yes, sure.
and well organized. So thanks, Joshua.
Thank you. Commissioner Lohman?
I already got my plug in for Josh, so no further comments.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Neill?
Yeah, I guess I'll just ditto Commissioner Draper and Commissioner Horsley's comments. So, and to our staff for getting us all through this year.
Ditto to that. Commissioner Rarback?
I also want to thank you, Josh, and I have no further comments.
All right, Vice Chair Slocum?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a question actually for Martha. I was wondering if you could tell me who the two city council folks are from East Palo Alto that were appointed to that joint committee.
Yes, that is the mayor and council member Moody.
And Council Member Moody, well, I guess I'll have to replace Council Member Moody since he was not reelected. Okay, thank you for that response. I wanted to thank the chairman also, Mr. Cosgrove, for his work during the year. Was very organized, on time, always, and that's appreciated. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for all the work that you've done this past year.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Very, very kind comments. And I just want to give most of the credit, maybe all the credit to staff. So thank you all. And also the commissioners too. Thank you for, following the order. Appreciate that. So item number 10, we'll move on to item number 10, which is a resolution honoring Rich Garbarino for his service. And Ms. Montez, is it possible for you to share your screen with the resolution? Are you able to do that?
I am not able to pull that up right now, but if you want to hang on a second, I can try 1 second. Or Rob, do you have that on hand to share?
Are we going to be able to put it on the screen?
Sorry, Chair. I cannot seem to find the resolution, and maybe Rob is having some difficulties as well, or trying to pull it up.
Bear with me for just one more moment. I do have it.
Well, why don't we do this while we're waiting? Are there any commissioners that would like to make comments? Unfortunately, Mr. Garbarino is not here. I enjoyed every minute of my time on the commission with him, before talking to him, after talking to him. a wonderful gentleman, and I certainly wish him the best. Is there any commissioners that would like to say anything?
I would like to echo what you just said, Chair Cosgrove. He's a very nice guy. He did a good job, and I had more opportunities to meet with him at Council of Cities dinners, etc. And he was dedicated to the citizens of South San Francisco. So I also wish him luck in his future endeavors.
Okay. So I now see, does everybody see the resolution in front of them now?
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm gonna read it, and if you can kind of scroll down, Rob, as I read, thank you. This is the resolution of the San Mateo Local Agency Formation Commission honoring Richard Garbarino for his dedicated service. Resolved by the members of the Local Agency Formation Commission of the County of San Mateo that whereas Richard Garbarino has served as regular city member of the Local Agency Formation Commission from 2012 to 2020, whereas he has made contributions to the commission's deliberations on a number of complex and controversial proposals and studies, including the successful multi-year effort to dissolve the Los Trancos County Water District, the reorganization of the Granada Community Services District, and municipal service reviews and sphere of influence updates for the San Mateo County Harbor District and the North County Cities and Special Districts. And whereas he regularly volunteered for the commission's budget committee, and whereas he served as a council member of the city of South San Francisco from 2002 to 2020, and served as mayor in 2006, 2011, 2014, and 2020. And whereas he has led and presided over numerous programs, special events, projects, and other notable efforts that have enhanced the quality of life for all residents of the city, including the passage of a tax for infrastructure improvements in the city, a new Caltrain station, and the encouragement of continuing growth of the city's biotech industry. And whereas, in addition to his service with LAFCo in the city, he has held positions on countless boards and committees, including presiding as president for the League of California Cities and serving as a member on the National League of Cities Public Safety Policy Committee. And whereas, his willingness to serve, his understanding of and support for the commission's policies and objectives, and his knowledge of local government have been of great benefit to the work of the commission and the community. And whereas his presence and contributions will truly be missed by his colleagues on the commission and by the commission staff. Now, therefore, this commission does hereby express its deep appreciation and sincere thanks to Richard Garbarino for his willingness to serve and dedicated service to this commission and to all people and public agencies in San Mateo County.
Hear, hear.
Thank you.
Here, right.
Any other comments by the commissioners? So that resolution was read into the record. Should we formalize that through motion and second?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Excellent. Okay, so I would move that we adopt the resolution that was just presented.
Second.
Okay, who came in second? I didn't hear. Let's see. Commissioner
Lohman.
Lohman? Okay, thank you. So we have a motion and a second, and then maybe we have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Horsley,
I think he signed out.
oh, did we lose him? Yeah, we did. Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Warbeck,
Yes.
Vice Chair Slocum,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes. So that item passes unanimously. And with that, we will move on to item number 11, which is our adjournment at 3:43 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yep.
Take care.
Stay safe.
Bye. See you.